I'd like to welcome everyone. December 7th Commissioners meeting. Join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, we've approved the minutes from November 16th meeting and the accounts payable vouchers and the payroll docket. Would entertain a motion to accept as submitted.
I move we accept the minutes from the November 16th meeting, the accounts payable vouchers and the payroll docket as presented.
I second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Okay, Lindsay.
Hi.
Hey,
So I put two job descriptions down in front of you. One is for a full-time public health educator, and the other is for a part-time food safety inspection officer. So these two positions that I'm proposing are gonna strictly come out of the new Health First funding. And they're going to last as long as the funding would last, so they're not gonna come out of our tax levy here in the county. They are to help fulfill the obligations that we signed up for, the additionals. With the new funding came down the core services. And one of the biggest differences was the maternal and child health aspect, which would bring in this public health coordinator with different aspects of educational training when it comes to nutrition, safe sleep, trauma and injury prevention when it as it applies to toddlers and infants, and then nutrition, tobacco cessation, stuff like that as it pertains to expecting mothers. So this position is going to work in the health department with the school liaison a little bit, and then with WIC in Hanover. So they're on board with this. They're excited about the idea. It'll allow them to get out in the community more, which helps us reach that goal. Giving them a little bit of time with a little bit of support will help them reach bigger goals that we don't have to tend to ourselves, but still help reach that initiative that the state set for us. And then the part-time food safety inspection officer, there's some new codes coming down for 2024, so that's going to take some time and adjustments, and currently she's already at her capacity of what she can take on. They really wanted to focus on education when it comes to violations, do more follow-ups, and then they're really wanting to push having an electronic food inspection program versus handwritten. So that takes time, takes initiative, it takes, you can't do it when your schedule's full. So this person would work part-time. It would flex probably a little bit more during the summer, and then when the schools have to get there, they get checked twice a year, and then during festivals and stuff. And it'll also allow us to check restaurants in the evenings, weekends a little bit more regularly versus right now it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. So these two jobs will help us reach and meet the criteria that the state set. We're also looking at creating a few stipends to help with the additional jobs that don't really justify a new position, because financially that would not be a good decision, but it is going to add workload and cause our employees to have to juggle some things. So I think some stipends will be in order for that to meet the requirements that we signed up. So I'm going to present these two positions at council next week. So you know, if you guys want to send your blessing or you just want to hear about it, either way, I'm fine with it. I think council might want to hear that you approve of it first. So.
no, I definitely approve. Can't speak for you two, so.
Yeah. You need help.
Use it.
Very good.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate what you are doing.
Thank you for your hard work.
Have a great evening.
Okay. Heather.
I had Pat put together an interlocal agreement between ourselves and Town of Hanover, to move Town of Hanover to our insurance like the library's been doing. The library's been doing that since 1983. It's been working out great, helps them with their rates, no cost to us. They don't affect our plan. So the interlocal's on the front, and then he also has a resolution here on the back. And basically, the library or the Town of Hanover would have to provide us payment by the 15th of each month. They notify me of a new hire or termination within 48 hours, so I can add them into our system. And then that I'm gonna be the one administering all the benefits, so if they have a new hire, they call me and then they come down and I take care of them, so didn't add any really a workload to me, they don't have much turnover. And then we're already doing that for the library, so
How many employees they have?
they have under 20, I think there was 15 on insurance.
Will this help us just a little bit by
It'll help us,
adding?
yeah, this year it didn't help our rates because it was based on this last year that they
Right.
weren't with us. But going forward, it adds, bump us up to help the numbers.
Plus, it'll really help those
Yeah,
15, right?
Yeah, they had, I think it was a $10,000 deductible, I could be wrong, it's a very high deductible, so they're gonna be paying a lot less out of pocket being on our insurance, plus it's just better coverage. Even for their dental and vision, they didn't have great dental. A lot of places here in town weren't taking their dental, so they were having to go out of town. Our dental's accepted everywhere, so it'll help them out.
Thoughts, gentlemen?
Okay. Well, yeah. And reading.
Have to read it, right? I think so.
Resolution.
Make a motion on that.
Interlocal.
No, motion on that resolution.
I move we accept the interlocal agreement between Jefferson County and the town of Hanover for insurance benefits.
A second. A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Uh,
Okay. Do we have to read it or not?
The resolution.
Just a resolution. Okay. This is resolution number 2023-17. Resolution of the County of Jefferson, Indiana to enter interlocal agreement for insurance benefits. Whereas the County of Jefferson, Indiana and the Town of Hanover, Indiana have made an agreement to provide insurance benefits to county employees and town employees. Whereas the agreement to provide insurance benefits to county employees and town employees has been drafted to the satisfaction of Jefferson County and is attached as attachment number 1 to this ordinance. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Jefferson, Indiana believes the approval of the resolution is in the best interest of the county. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Jefferson, Indiana, that the county will enter into the attached interlocal government agreement and will abide by its terms. The foregoing resolution was passed and adopted by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Jefferson, the state of Indiana, this 7th day of December, 2023.
Resolution. I'll move we accept the resolution 2023-17. Resolution of the County of Jefferson, Indiana to enter interlocal agreement for insurance benefits.
Second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. You good? Doing well. All right, we had talked to Arlie Colvin, out in Kent, 8231 West Kent last month. About a couple of houses that had burnt, and I put a order of unsafe building on it that needs to be cleaned up, and I believe he's wanting to discuss, he's got some funds now and to clean it up. He's wanting to discuss a timeline, I believe, so I'll let Arlie speak.
Okay. This check, I've been waiting, since June for it to help get it all cleaned up. And I finally made it in my box yesterday.
What timing? I said, what timing? You were hoping you were gonna get it. So.
So, I'll keep going if I can sit down.
Go ahead.
I would like to, beginning of February, you guys meet on February, kind of give you guys a run up. That way, the holidays and all that stuff, they get all messed up. So holiday, February, can give you guys a good idea on what's going on, try to get this taken care of. And, I believe I can do it now. I'm gonna try to do it myself, but if I need to, I'll have it done. But hopefully I can get it done, I'm sorry. But I appreciate you guys, if you don't mind, your patience with me. I feel bad about everybody driving down the road to see it all the time. But, hope you guys don't mind, hopefully you get to. So I can go at least, beginning of February meeting.
But you're gonna start on it in the meantime and do
Yes.
a little bit as you can?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you comfortable with that, sir?
I don't have any issues with that. I think it's in the county's best interest to let him clean it up on his own, but I also think that we can't let it drag out another year. So, I believe, we should maybe set another hearing for, first meeting in April, maybe. And if it's not cleaned up by then, possibly take actions at that time to finish cleanup or, at least see where he's at that point.
Sure. I mean, did you want to come back in February and kind of give us a schedule on what you think?
That sounds a lot better. But,
I mean, I'm gonna, if he
I
wants to
know.
do that, and it's between you guys, but.
Well, yeah, I
I'm
know,
gonna
just to
try
give
to
us an
keep up
update.
with
I mean, I think the biggest thing, we want to see progress.
Correct.
And if we see progress, we're not gonna force anybody to, you gotta have it by 21st of December. You got, no, we're not like that. So
Right.
we just want to see progress. So,
appreciate it very much.
All right,
okay,
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Yeah.
thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Josh.
See you guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Bring my folders for you. But this is some different information than you have previously received. Yeah. All right, so I came here this evening to request funding from opioid settlement monies. Every county gets a different amount. I completely understand that. So I don't have a designated amount at this time. I mean, I'd be more than willing to discuss it. But there's a significant correlation between substance use, opioid use, and abuse. And your numbers currently, even since I was here in the summer, are up 60%. So you're at last year at this time, the state, we had 83, and right now we have 137 who have been through the PAC. I did run a maltreatment type report for the CAC, and 30% are specific to drug-related abuse, maltreatment, neglect, etc. That can include also trafficking, the witness to domestic violence, witness to sexual abuse, interview for safety, and neglect. And that's where I make the connection between the opioid funding potential and the CAC. What we found, and there's it's a heavy, extremely heavy body of research between substance use and abuse, but parental substance abuse disorders and familial opioid use disorders and witness to overdoses cause our local DCS. It is a primary response for children and youth affected by the crisis. And I did speak with DCS regarding this topic this week, and approximately 30 cases a year could be potential for more of infants born with exposure to substance use during in utero time, causing neonatal issues, and that is here. So how this connection occurs is we know that children have a higher risk of disabilities when they are born addicted or have had exposure in utero to opioids. And then as they grow with those developmental problems such as social, emotional, developmental, cognitive, and physical, that that makes their instance of abuse with statistics at a 30% higher rate than a typically developing child. So we know that in the national statistics, one child is born substance use and exposed every 15 minutes. But for closer to our purposes here in this county, we're looking at approximately 30 a year. According to child welfare, children with disabilities are 3 times more likely to be abused and neglected than peers without disabilities. We also have found that parents that are struggling with substance or opioid abuse, they have a tendency to be more irritable, ambivalent, and disinterested, and they show a greater difficulty interpreting children's cues. And that also is a danger for the safe people in children's lives that are, their intent is to watch out and make sure children are safe. And so when you have disinvolved or disassociated parenting styles, that also provides an additional layer of risk in this like huge complexity of issues between drugs and abuse. So I was just trying to kind of put that picture together, the bigger picture. And then in your packet, you'll see there are the basic, typically parents that are dealing and struggling with substance usage or abuse issues have a tendency to have more instances of neglect. And that doesn't mean just ignoring or not having enough food, but it is a deeper problematic situation than that. And that is where we see that children are more likely to be victims of abuse and also witness to abuse when we have these issues in the household. And there has been a deep or a sharp increase in the children requiring placements outside of their home because of parental opioid abuse, and that's coming from DCS here. So yeah, you've got all of the issues with children being exposed to drugs as an infant, and then the continued spectrum of the problems it causes later in life, not only for the children who don't necessarily have the disabilities from being exposed at a young age, but also just the trauma of witnessing all of those things that go along with the use of drugs and substances in their household. So that's the connection that I'm trying to make in the request for opioid funds for the CAC for general operating purposes.
Day to day.
Yes.
Gotcha.
In other counties, they did do a resolution similar to the one you were just reading. And when we are and when we have now secured that situation in other counties, we fell under Schedule A under core strategies and Schedule B under abatement strategies, and it was labeled unrestricted opioid settlement. It was approved by commissioners in other counties. And it was, again, unrestricted opioid abatement distribution funding.
Okay. I think that's something we need to talk about and can have something back by the 21st, won't you? Maybe. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked that we need to do something for programs in the new jail facility, because there's no way we could build a bigger facility for that, so we need to look at that as well. And I know there's been other folks that have come and talked to us. We can start putting together a plan in a couple of weeks. I don't know that we have absolute numbers by that time.
Right, but some sense of direction, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thanks for considering.
Right.
I appreciate
Thank
it. And
you.
if you have any more information that you need, feel free to reach out to me. I do have, examples from other places of they did a grant agreement with a resolution. So there were 2 documents to secure, any funding coming out of any opioid settlement. monies. Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a great holiday.
You too.
Dr. Hicks, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Almost like Christmas time, isn't it?
In case you're up late in the evening and with your milk and cookies. And
Oh,
something to read, Ron asked me if I could come and provide an update for you on the project of the substance abuse residential treatment facility that we've been working on for quite some time. And it's always amazing how a project like this takes more time than you ever would imagine.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like very much to thank the individuals that have been on our subcommittee. They've worked diligently now for, gosh, well over almost 2 years. Putting together their thoughts, their wishes, their hopes for the community. And I would like to, if you'll note it in the record, that I would like to offer my sincere thanks to those people for all of their work during this time. I'll try and keep my remarks brief to you. You can look over the document that I'll explain to you in just a minute at your leisure. Jason Craney with Community Corrections. He'll be, I think he has a planned visit to meet with you sometime at the first of the year to put forth maybe a stronger recommendation that comes out of the committee. So I'm just here to give you a brief update and with no recommendations or anything that you have to move on or take action on. First of all, I'd like to give you a little idea about the timeline, and that's kind of outlined for you on the sheet there. As I said, this has been an activity that has gone on for several months with lots of diligent work. In November of 22, the subcommittee, which was part of the grant that was proposed and granted, identified the University of Cincinnati Evaluation Services Center to conduct a needs survey. And the document that you have is the product that has come out of their work for the community needs assessment. Little background further, in December, there was a design and scope for the needs assessment. And we worked diligently and worked with the University of Cincinnati to design, hopefully, a strategy that would come about giving them the best opportunity to gain the information that was needed. Also, during January of 23, University of Cincinnati, their group started gathering secondary data into the issues of substance use, abuse, and things of that nature within Jefferson County. And if you need to know anything about substance abuse, it's in that document. I think they've done an outstanding job of doing some secondary research studies for that. Later on, or earlier this year, in the spring and early summer, they conducted some primary research interviews with focus groups and individuals to get their feelings and thoughts on whether the community would be receptive to establishing a residential treatment facility for Jefferson County. And lots of their comments are identified in the document. And remarkably, or I guess would be, and I don't want to offer you any of the thoughts on the documents, But is any issue in any community, there were some very much in favor, some very much not in favor. So it's always one of those deals that there's always two differences of opinions. Okay, looking on down to this year, we've come up with a final document in terms of a needs assessment. And the subcommittee has looked at the document. They've looked at it twice. The University of Cincinnati has made some revisions, and this was the latest document that we had. And in October, as opposed to the one that they originally brought forth to us in July. And even since that time in October, you see on the cover, we've made some revisions as of December the 6th, the most recent meeting that we had, and then some of those thoughts were reported in the document. And they were reported in an addendum in the document that is towards the end of the report, page 37 to be exact. I certainly hope personally that you will have the opportunity to research the document. And when Jason comes with his presentation for you in the future, he could bring forth a great deal of other information for you. Other initiatives that the group has been working on as well, the Jail Chemical Addiction Program, or JCAP, was a partnership between the Madison city government and I believe the county to establish a program with the new jail when it is established to offer some drug treatment right there in the jail. I've had opportunities to visit some sites, and it seems to be a program that would be very effective there for inmates that are incarcerated. Also, another initiative that we're working on or have been working on, referred to as a crisis intervention team. Right now, several law enforcement as well as other professionals in the healthcare industry and emergency responders are being given the opportunity for training to work closely for identifying crisis situations and strategies that will work with individuals facing that. So that's a couple of other things that we're working on at this particular time. They're all interrelated in things that they're doing and how they can help the community. And the biggest thing that came out of one of the documents, we don't have a residential facility in Jefferson County. Anybody that needs those services, they have to go outside the county, either to Jeffersonville, Bloomington, sometimes Indianapolis. So that is more and more a barrier for the individuals in Jefferson County to get those kinds of services that they desperately need.
No, I mean, doesn't Jefferson House and Ruth Haven?
Those are not those are after a detox situation. They're transitional housing, as I understand what their particular services are. Now, they may offer some various things, but the residential, it's typically anywhere from 29 days of residential treatment. It's intensive to help with the detox efforts, as well as a medically developed treatment program for them. And there is nothing like that in Jefferson County. So that was seen as one of the issues within Jefferson County, and hopefully we can begin to address it either through a public situation or a partnership with other healthcare providers that could also do a partnership with the county at that time. I'll be happy to entertain any questions further at this time, but give you the opportunity to read through. I'll probably attend with Jason when he does meet with you. And, as we say, that's probably where the rubber will meet the road for us all. But I will entertain any questions.
Nope, you did good, sir.
Okay, well, thank you
Appreciate it.
very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
I appreciate what you're doing. It has been an arduous task.
It's been interesting.
It has been.
Okay, I don't see Mr. Carter here.
Again?
Maybe his health's
Yeah.
bad. Bobby Phillips in the wings out there.
Yes.
You wanna come up here and assist me on this one?
System, would you like?
On the overweight and oversized vehicle ordinance, our first reading.
What would
Okay,
like me to state?
just basically, as we talked real quick, here is why we are looking at this, not to impose or punish anybody, but to help save our roads, and we have an avenue to go back when they get tore up.
Yep, on one of the conferences I attended, I come across a gentleman that represented Oxcart. Yeah, I was just curious what it was, and it was basically some permitting for oversized and overweight trucks. We don't have a whole lot of problems with our local guys. You know, my farmers are able to get in and out of the fields and don't do much damage. Occasionally, we have some that venture off and want to end up on Thomas Hill Road or Hanover Beach Hill or somewhere that they really do not fit, which it won't cover every single truck with this ordinance, but it will cover the overweights and the oversized. Even when folks are coming in and doing some of the construction sites. Here recently, in the last few months, there was actually a truck that was left on the road for several days while they were doing some construction. So, and I went and asked him if the truck was broke down, what it was, and his first question was, "What are there some permits or something we need to fill out?" We did have some more. I had a phone call today, and they were asking if we had those. So they're really becoming more and more standard in the area. NDOT's already got them, trying to monitor where they're at and running their roads. But we have an extensive amount of guardrail that does get torn up because most of our roads, I kind of joke a lot of times, they weren't really engineered. They followed the cows home, you know, and now we drive them every day. With our local roads, if we try to get everything completely out the federal standards, we'll be broke in a hurry. So we try to accommodate and do the best we can with the resources that we have available. And this ordinance would help kind of minimize some of those damages and be able to monitor those. And it's all done digitally, so it's not going to take a lot of manpower, you know, which is extremely crucial because we don't have lots of manpower to commit to anything else other than what we've already getting done. So there's definitely that convenience factor.
Yeah, we talked about this a number of years ago. We have some people down towards the Marble Hill area that
Yes.
get caught up in some back roads and can't make the turns and end up in yards. People aren't too happy about that, or get stuck and can't go anywhere. And so,
I know the most recent one that I remember was on K Road, where he destroyed the south guardrails after he got the truck hung off those, then he just went the other route to make his swing. So my just thought is the residents, and we shouldn't have to pay for that for somebody's not doing any better or caring any better, or not following their GPS, which probably routed him there.
yeah,
But like you say about the farmers, they're running 40-foot beds and no sleeper. So they're 12, 14 foot shorter, and they know how to manipulate. So I'm not worried about them.
Most of them, I've even talked to a lot of the guys that do a lot of construction work and they run a lot of low boys. And the first thing they have to do is kind of run the routes and double check to make sure there's no railroad crossing grades that are high that they're going to get hung up on. You get the wheels off the ground and they don't spin, you know, it's like the cartoon and the guy sitting there running, but he ain't moving. You know, and it doesn't take too long to get caught and realize you kind of messed up. So I've talked to a lot of them. How can the part of the system would really help them better navigate in a safe manner as well. So we could at least give them a heads up where maybe they wouldn't get stuck in those positions where they have to tear up guardrail and hope they get away, and who knows what else damage they did to the truck, to that organization as well. So
Mhm. Well, thank you for help explaining that. for me. Okay, I'm gonna read. Maybe. You guys want to split this up with me?
Yeah.
Start off and then you
Okay.
Okay. This is ordinance 2023-10, issuance of permits for overweight and oversized vehicles, Jefferson County, Indiana. Whereas the state of Indiana, by its General Assembly, has enacted the Indiana Motor Vehicle Code with amendments thereto, which act is now in full force and effect, and whereas Indiana Code Title 9, Article 20, Chapter 6 authorizes local government with respect to highways under their jurisdiction and in their discretion, and upon application and good cause being shown thereof, to issue a special permit authorizing applicant to operate or move a vehicle or combination of vehicles of a size or weight of vehicle or load exceeding the maximum specified in the code, or otherwise not in conformity with the code upon any highway under the jurisdiction of the party granting such permit, and for the maintenance of which the party is responsible. And whereas certain highways under the jurisdiction of the highway superintendent of Jefferson County have been damaged by the operation of certain vehicles exceeding legal weights without the oversight of appropriate permits. And whereas the continued operation of vehicles exceeding legal weights and dimensions without the oversight of appropriate permits on said highways will create hazards for the motoring public. And whereas Indiana Code 99-20-6-3C authorizes the local authorities to prohibit trucks or other commercial vehicles and place signs on the highways. Now therefore be it ordained by the Jefferson County Board of Commissioners by virtue of the act herein above referred to, that vehicles operated upon the highways under the jurisdiction of Jefferson County when exceeding legal weights and dimensions hereinafter set forth shall be permitted as follows. When a vehicle combination of vehicles with a weight including any over dimensions in excess of the maximum specified in said Indiana Motor Vehicle Code, the vehicle owner or lessee shall submit an application to move such vehicles on a form and in such a manner as prescribed by the Highway Department. Upon approval of the permit application, the applicant shall pay a fee for the permit according to the following schedule. A single trip is $50, a round trip is $80.
Ready? Yeah. When a vehicle or combination of vehicles with a dimension more than the maximums specified in said Indiana Motor Vehicle Code, but within legal weights, the vehicle owner or lessee shall submit an application to move such vehicle on a form and in such a manner as prescribed by the highway superintendent. Upon approval of the permit application, the applicant shall pay a fee for the permit according to the following schedule: single trip 25, round trip 40. C. A single trip permit is valid for 5 days and authorizes one movement over a prescribed route, and a round trip permit is valid for 10 days and this authorizes one movement and return movement over the same prescribed route. D. Permits are to be issued for good cause to ensure any movement will not unduly damage the county highway system or therein public safety. By submitting an application, the applicant verifies the vehicles and or load are not divisible pursuant to the Indiana Motor Vehicle Code. Permits are only valid on dates authorized by the Indiana Department of Transportation from 30 minutes after sunrise to 30 minutes after sunset local time, unless special permissions are granted by the highway superintendent. The highway superintendent is authorized to issue reasonable rules, regulations, and provisions on a document to accompany each permit. This document may be amended from time to time as necessary. The highway superintendent utilizes an inter-based software provider to manage permitting process, including application, payment, permit review, and issuance. F. Any oversized and or overweight implement of agriculture shall be required to obtain a permit with no fee collected by the county.
Be it further ordained that the highways upon which the permitted operation of said vehicles of the weights and dimensions here and above set forth may operate upon the roads in Jefferson County under the jurisdiction of the highway superintendent, commonly referred to as county highways. Be it further ordained that it shall be unlawful for any person, firm, or corporation to operate any vehicle upon the county highways without a permit, when the vehicle exceeds the weights and dimensions here and above set forth in violation of this ordinance. Be it further ordained that the highway superintendent of Jefferson County shall administer and issue permits for overweight and overdimensioned vehicles in his discretion. Be it further ordained that the provisions of this ordinance shall not apply to authorized emergency vehicles, and the county shall not collect a permit fee for implements of agriculture required to obtain an overweight or overdimensioned permit. Be it further ordained that the highway superintendent of Jefferson County may, with good cause, place signs on designated highways limiting the operation of trucks or other commercial vehicles to 5 tons, 10,000 pounds. Be it further ordained that whoever violates the provision of this ordinance shall be guilty of an offense and punishable as provided by the Indiana Motor Vehicle Code. This ordinance shall supersede all former ordinances heretofore enacted authorizing permits for vehicles exceeding legal weights and dimensions on county highways, and shall be in full force and effective immediately upon its passage as provided by the law. The foregoing ordinance was passed and adopted by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Jefferson, State of Indiana, this blank day of blank 2022.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was our first reading. Okay, I don't think the sheriff is out there, Bobby, so you have the floor, sir. Bobby.
You're not Bobby.
Hi, Bobby, you've changed.
Really, just quickly too.
Very quick.
Yeah.
First thing is over here before it all slides off. The first thing I'm gonna request is that we go ahead and pass the annual bids that were read at the last meeting. I did review all those, everything was intact, no surprises going through that. That helps us keep all the prices locked in for the year.
I'll make a motion, we accept all the bids read at the last meeting.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Motion carries.
The second thing that I have, I'm always looking for solutions to some of our culvert problems. I'll pass this off, so as I read off these numbers, you guys have those in front of you. Had a supplier that had reached out to me and had told me that they were doing some culvert lines. I did a little bit of research because I'd already been in the process of requesting some prices. You guys have probably seen a lot of the liners that go in a lot of the NDOT projects and on a lot of the state roads. Some of the very first ones that I looked at, the hydraulics wouldn't work, so it didn't make sense to line something that was already too small and spend that amount of money. The first one that I've got listed there was for Breeding Road. And I got a quote from Temple and Temple. They do a lot of the line projects in the area. And their quote for one that I had on Breeding Road, it was they were going to place a 56-inch inner diameter liner in it, and it was 62 feet long. So you can imagine that would take a little while to dig out and do all that good stuff. Their price was $89,779.72. I probably left off the change on what you guys were using.
On the first one, it's there.
Is it on the first one? Okay, very good. I couldn't remember. If I knew one of them, I started eliminating
I
pennies.
still want to see the guy spend seconds.
The other quotes that I got was from Critical Pipeline Repair, LLP. They've been running nationwide on some of these, and for the one on Breeding Road, they will do that with a mesh and concrete lining for $38,585.
23 cents.
My engineering estimate. Left you guys paper.
$92,300.
That was the engineer's estimate to have a contractor replace that same exact structure. So I'm gonna request that we entertain that. We can already see that the one's 38,000. You all right with me going ahead and reading the other one, combining these? If you guys are in so favor.
Sure, I mean, do you think, so I just wonder, I mean, the mesh and
51.
concrete, how? Is that gonna be thicker than what the other one would be, or?
It
is-
will be a little bit thicker, but it actually won't limit
have-
the
okay.
flow any more than what that 56-inch liner was going to.
Okay,
It'll actually. The one on Breeding Road's not perfectly round, so they were downsizing that with the 57 quite a bit anyway, but we had already run the hydraulics and a 48-inch culvert would actually maintain it, so we had some wiggle room to
okay,
adjust that. So, very good question.
Is there any flags why that would have been $51,000 cheaper? I mean, I'm just,
It's a completely different type of application.
okay,
You know, with that application, they're not having to buy the liner that goes in there. Since it was going from like a 64-inch diameter and it was kind of squashed and mangled, not really mangled, but it wasn't completely contoured. So that was gonna take a lot of additional grout. That was gonna take a lot of additional time and manpower to do that as well. When I was originally looking at those, I didn't take real quick action because there wasn't a whole lot of difference between 89,000 and 92,000.
no,
If we're gonna be doing that, then it's a matter of how long do we wanna have the road closed. And when he called me, I said, hey, I got one, I'll let you go look at. And then I called in another culvert over on 350 North and said, well, while you're doing it, and you're checking, well, go ahead and get me a price for this one too. So I did proceed with one on 350 North. Take a look at it. For that liner, it was gonna be $33,615. I didn't get another comparable for that one. I didn't run the numbers for it, but what I was looking at was I could do both of those for less than the cost of my first estimate and have it done. And if they do both projects, they will eliminate one of the mobilization prices, which is $4,200. They'll take off of the project to do both of them. And they have some availability to actually knock that out here in the next week or two, because he's going to Massachusetts after that.
supposed to be good weather next week too.
I hadn't even looked that far in.
Yes. 29 in the mornings and up to 50s in the afternoon, so it's doable. What do you think, gentlemen?
sounds
I'd
good.
say go for it.
Be nice to see how, so you said he's national, right? So, I mean, he's done it in cold weather as well as warm weather. I'm just, the freeze thaw cycles, does that have any impact on this mesh?
I know they-
Concrete and stuff, but
With the concrete and cement and so many of the additives and things they're able to put in it these days, it's kind of amazing what they can get done and keep it going.
They can speed that cure time up.
Put blankets on it, yeah,
some chemicals in
Yeah.
maybe Dow.
it. Not that. We just learned it. We used to deal with the cement industry.
I make a motion, we do Breeding Road and 350 North.
All right, I second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
I kind
Carry-
of like that. I caught that hint to make sure I keep moving right along.
Carry on.
I'll do my best. I put out a request for proposals we've got a structure out on Little Brushy Fork Road.
Oh, yeah.
When I was first looking at that, I mean, lots of it looks like an erosion problem. Some of the head wall was originally looked like it had some challenges. When I put that out, I can't remember exactly how many consultants I invited on it. Anyway, I did get 4 proposals back. And you will notice they're everything from engineering to the numbers are very skewed. So I'm going to say that first, because the first precedence and the original way that was put out was to go ahead and replace that structure. As I got to studying the structure itself just a little bit more and comparing that to some of the other structures that we currently have in our inventory, I was trying to find another way to go about it. So no more elaboration on that. For FPBH, we've replied to the request for proposals. The total cost to replace the structure and address all the scouring and stabilization to that project would be $364,300. And then that was broke down with engineering and construction. Our QAWs would be $475,000. Theirs did include some additional permits and things also that would be negotiable, and we could get that lowered a little bit if we chose to go that route. Geo specialties, that is the soil nail companies and Geo Solutions. But Geo Specialties can basically reform a retaining wall on that lower side and take care of the erosion problem with the Shot Creek wall and those soil nails for $77,672. Geo Stabilization International does a very similar type product and performs a very similar type work with
They do it in
the
Canada,
soil
too.
nails and Shot Creek wall. I could.
No, I meant, do they do it in Canada? That's how they get the international name.
I think they go everywhere by being on the website and seeing some of the videos.
Okay.
I got a guy here that can do it still for us.
Oh, so he goes beyond that, sometimes,
He doesn't
airports,
live too far away, so he can make it up here.
airports call themselves international and they just go to Canada or something.
There you go. There you go. But their price is $76,350. My recommendation is that we award that to Geo Stabilizations International, also known as GSI, for $76,350.
Move we accept the bid for Geo Stabilization International for $76,350 for the repair of Little Brushy Fork.
second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. So moved.
You guys want some copies of that? I know I sent that to you. It's an email also.
That's fine.
I brought a couple of copies just in case somebody wanted the hard copy. I think that's all I have. We have just kind of have just been trying to get ready for winter operations, so hopefully that's just all for nothing, but we know sooner or later we're gonna need it. But we are trying to get trucks ready, make sure we got blades on everything, ample supply of salt, cinders and all that good stuff, so. Weather stays like this, it'll be a lot more enjoyable.
Let's hope so.
Well, Jefferson County still growing back there?
Jefferson.
Cinder pile mountains in Jefferson County.
It might grow a little bit more, just depending on whether or not the power plant gives me a call and says they've got a few more for us. With our tandems and the trucks we've got now and them loading them down there for us now because of the way they've changed their process of gathering cinders with they're loading them for us, so we're getting in and out of there pretty quick. Usually they let me know they got a pile there and within a day and a half, we've got it wiped out for them.
Take what we can get.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, is Matt here?
I didn't see the truck out there.
Okay. Come on down, sir.
All right, just begin with a few things. Last week I went to the Southern Indiana RDA meeting, mostly just hoping to get some more information on Ready 2.0. Nothing's really changed there, and it's still going slow. It's looking like April next year before the IEDC is even gonna announce the funding allocations. And in May, they'll put out the press for projects, then it starts picking up after that. So July is when we have to have any projects due for them. And then they're talking about having the money ready starting in October and September, so. But we're gonna have to wait till probably May to find out if we're in for anything or not there.
So I guess, I mean, they had said they were like putting together
Yeah, so the RDA has to do.
like an
what
investment
they call an
strategy.
Investment strategy to the IEDC, and that's due in February.
Yeah.
So they're taking all the projects they got and.
Yeah.
I didn't get the impression that they're throwing anything out.
No.
They're just taking everything. and
I heard one other region was going with like
Yeah.
$120 million or something.
Yeah,
So,
so yeah, that's gonna be in February, and then April's when they'll finally allocate funds to each region, so we won't know till then what our chances are really for anything. And nothing's really changed there. Revolving loan payments continue as normal. Our fund balance is now up to $20,211.08, so that continues to build. Earlier this week, I met along with someone else from the broadband task force. We met with a gentleman from Mainstream Fiber. they're actually based out of Brown County. They're a small, well, I guess they're small, they're a smaller, internet service provider. They're interested in looking at serving some of the rural areas in the county. So I'll write up a note summarizing that conversation and, I'll get that to you either tomorrow or Monday.
They say underground or poles or,
Polls,
Polls,
because for
really?
pricing, it's,
wow.
yeah.
They got
Well,
somebody
I
else,
don't-
they got a special relationship with Duke.
I know, we talked
Yeah.
about that a little bit too. Well, I think that's because their pricing for their service seems really competitive. But I think that's because they're not spending, $140,000 a mile to bury. So they're,
Yeah.
over poles, so that lets them keep the price down, so. Very preliminary, like I say, based out of Brown County, so.
I'm wondering, there's the power poles, but then there's also the old telephone poles, which Duke does not have anything on. If they worked out a deal with those guys, because
They might be able to run them to a point and they
Yeah.
have to go underground and
Yeah.
pick it up again,
Yeah.
so.
He even mentioned, I
Which
can't remember where it was, they didn't install and they were having trouble working out and they just put their own poles in. It's quicker and
it's the other
easier
option.
just to do their own, so, that's an option.
Neighbors notice some limbs missing off their trees.
Yeah, yeah, so,
Those will last forever.
but anyway, they're asking for a little bit of information from you guys. I'll write it up and I'll get it to you in the next couple of days, so nothing big there. Upcoming stuff, next week, we have an executive board meeting for SERC. That'll be the last one for the year there. And December 18th, the Jefferson County Broadband Task Force is hosting an ACP enrollment event at the library downtown. So that's the Affordable Connectivity Program. So that's the one,
December 18th.
December 18th, 1 to 6. So I want to talk to Bernice and see if we can get some stuff to maybe put on the website and out on social media to get some people. So I don't know if you remember, the ACP is it's the federal program to help people. It's means tested to help people pay for their service, and they can even get a discount on a device, in certain places. So, anyway, we're gonna try and get some people enrolled in that, the 18th. That'll be our first event there. So if anybody wants to come down and help out or just check it out, we'll be down there 1 to 6. So, okay. And Sarah, I've got all this. I can give it to you, or I can send it to you in email. Okay. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Brian.
Okay. Public got anything?
Public,
Yes, sir.
one thing on the vehicle ordinance. I know the farmers have to get a permit. But there's no charge, right?
No. I don't think that will be an issue because
Because I know Ron's familiar with, down below my house, there's 293 turns. And they can't make it without getting in the guy's yard. Now, is there some hour limitations on that too?
For Dustin.
If I remember
I
right.
think it was a half an hour. It's usually like,
Before sunrise.
Yep.
It is a half hour after,
before and after, right?
yes, and that's basically federal law,
Yeah, like these.
that's just mirroring federal law.
So we're gonna tell the farmers if they can't.
That's the oversized and overweight,
Okay, so what is the weight and size?
80,000, and anything over 12 feet, I think, requires a permit on width.
Okay,
It would be like you've seen these semis run through Hanover and up 421 with the concrete slabs.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
okay.
We're not talking about
Not talking about grain
our
trucks.
farmers, no, because like I said, they don't run a 54-foot bed and they don't have sleepers. So, they've cut
Okay,
14, yeah,
that clarifies that.
right.
Bobby knows about those turns on 945.
Yeah, I'll go around that one long.
Right.
If they didn't follow the cows home on that one, they
No.
followed the snake.
Right. Then what Richard Carter was gonna talk about, is that what the planning commission passed at their last meeting?
I don't think so. The Safer Communities Act, this is something
That's something different.
totally. alienated from the unified development, I believe. I can't honestly answer that for you. Yeah,
I'll be quiet now.
you're fine, what it's for. Mr. Bob, you got anything?
Either Bob.
Either Bob,
Two Bobs.
got a Bob behind you,
Two Bob.
you got anything?
Just a reminder that the courthouse is closed tomorrow from 11 to 2 for our employee Christmas party. But, circuit court does have a hearing at 1, so someone will be there by 12:45 to open the door for those people that go to court.
You okay? Good, good. Mr. Lee, oh, I'm sorry.
Lithium battery storage. Was there a possibility that something like that is coming to Jefferson?
Should have been here a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago
well,
when they came
Good
before the
question, Bob.
council and
There will be a public hearing
Yeah.
at our council meeting next Tuesday.
next Tuesday.
the 12th, but it's pretty well in the works.
What are the hazards of having one of those?
The what?
What are the hazards of having one of those in case something happens? Toxic.
I know there's
Smoke.
someone added,
Is there something that's
There's
containing it?
someone
Wait.
on the agenda for that meeting that is coming to discuss that kind of stuff.
I'm not
Correct,
saying it's a bad thing.
right.
It was just
Yeah, there's a lot of
asking if
unanswered
it's-
questions, but
Because I know it's good revenue. my
wasn't
understanding.
the gentleman that's representing it say something about education with the firefight? I mean, did I hear that wrong?
There would be education with the
There's-
fire
I think there would be.
departments in that it self-eliminates.
But I mean, they would go over what they would be required to do in case that event
Yeah,
happened.
I think they've
I think
had,
basically you just save the unit on either side and let it
So
take care of itself.
they're in like, I mean, I hate to use Connex, but it's kind of that kind of, a group of batteries are in a Connex and then they're separated from, there's separation to the next one, so,
And new batteries, not old batteries.
yeah.
Like,
I hope
there's
so,
warranty
for the
and
price tag
everything,
they put on it, if they're putting in used batteries for that kind of investment, then
Right.
we might be in the wrong business,
So Tuesday, huh?
well,
Next room over.
But next Tuesday, they will have a final talk about it before they render their abatement decision or whatever, so.
All right.
You have anything, sir?
so the Stormwater Master Program Plan has, made it, I will make copies and get them out to folks, get it on the internet. So it's just basically a kind of a strategy document for moving forward with stormwater issues. The next thing that's kind of on the list is to do a stormwater management ordinance. And that's probably will be completed by like sometime April. They're trying to work, the city has they're an MS4. I wish I knew what MS4 meant, but it's some special requirements for stormwater treatment. And so they are mandated to have theirs completed by sometime early next year. And so we're gonna try to make sure that whatever our ordinance, that it's aligned with that it's not something completely different. So we're working through that. It's, I mean, it lays out some goals. Kind of long-term goals. I mean, I don't think anyone would be surprised if we said we have some stormwater issues in the county. So trying to, learn. There are certain areas that need some attention right away, but trying to work through that and seeing, right now, there's no, the highway department is not allowed to go off of, off of, if there's a stormwater problem off the road, they really can't go there. So trying to work through some of those issues. I mean, I know people are probably tired of hearing me say this, but if you want some funding to help with these things, you better have a plan. This gives us a plan that we can now go to folks and say, all right, this is what we're gonna do. And and I'm pretty confident there's a number of funding sources out there for stormwater. control. They'll also, I mean, it seems like a lot of things that we do are trying to get neighbors to be neighborly. And sometimes they aren't. This will at least put some things on. You can't just build and dump the rainwater off of your property onto your neighbor and let him deal with it. So this will have they'll have to go through and get some reviews and then, you know, inspections on when it's being built. So that's not happening.
We just have some good things come out of it as far as like new subdivisions.
Yes, well, I
We're
mean,
going to move the water from John Q to John Doe.
right, I mean, that's part of it,
Okay,
that would
gotcha.
be in the ordinance. I think we'll also, in addition to that, there'll be kind of what they call a standards document, there's a lot of them out there. I'm trying to get them just for the county, but that would address that. Okay, if you're gonna build this, you're gonna have a retention pond, and how quickly can you release that water? Because sometimes I think people feel they can, if they put it in there, they just let it go out at the same pace. Well, that you may have delayed the issue,
Yeah.
but it's still there. So there's gonna be things like that in there, and how you prevent impacting your neighbor in ways like that will be in the standards document.
There's also erosion and runoff control in there too. Talk about building subdivision.
Right.
Kind of, some of that, so.
Hold the developer's feet to the fire instead of passing it off like we have issues now that they want county to clean it up, and it's not really.
Yeah,
our fault,
so I
our
mean, it'll do it
responsibility.
beforehand rather than
Right.
having to fix
Right.
things afterwards. But, yeah.
That's part of the comprehensive plan too.
That kind of came out of the comprehensive plan, yeah. This is one of the things that we talked about in there.
Yeah.
The new Unified Development Ordinance has a place where it references the ordinance and the standards, and so that's all kind of tying together.
Yeah, we just came back from Commissioners Conference and I think I highlighted the Indiana Office of Technology. We sat in on, we try to divide up and go to different things and we end up in the same one. And I'm amazed at the security and the phishing and the malware and all that's out there hacking on us personally and the county. So
You're gonna be quiet there and say fishing. They think we all want to tune it out. We go fishing.
But anyway, I'm always amazed at
I'm sorry.
how people can sit around and think how to hack you instead of how to help you. But that's the world we live in,
Yeah,
so.
they make more money hacking.
Hold the hostage, absolutely.
Yeah, so we both picked up a folder and we're gonna throw it at Sarah and our IT ovation people and.
A lot of good information.
Yeah, there
in
was
it.
there was a ton in there. We don't want to be like, what was it, Vanderbilt County, was it, where just got cyber attacked and. Whew.
Well, we got a good example right around here.
Yeah.
KDH
Mhm.
or Norton's now. They really brought them to their knees
Mhm.
in a heartbeat.
So I was very glad that we have Ovations working for us. We still got some things to jump through. We were so far behind in our county office, courthouse and the offices with our IT that it's gonna take a while yet to catch up, but it's good to know that the Indiana Office of Technology is a lot of really like some free stuff and
Mhm.
yeah, we need the word free. And then Michael done the update on the treatment train, so I don't have anything to add about that.
Well, we had 2 milestones these past 2 weeks. Last Monday, we got our temporary occupancy permit at the jail. Yesterday, the fire marshal and our building inspector and all the powers to be were there, and we have temporary or permanent occupancy now. So Ben and his staff have already been getting it, and I think their office might be closed tomorrow till Monday, so the staff can move, and they will probably continue and operate right out of the new jail. The only thing will still be by itself is a jail. This is pending on the numbers being ported up there, but the last 2 weeks it's amazing what's been done. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. So,
And it's not sagging and falling into the ground.
No, I
In
don't-
case you read Facebook.
I don't know where that data come from, but it was still standing when I left. so. And that was the season. Yeah, but,
Gosh.
no,
Duct
they,
tape on it, but.
Yeah.
yeah. But, no, what progress been made in the last 2 weeks and even this week. I feel so much better about it.
Say, next meeting? No.
Yes. Tentatively, we plan to have our next commissioners meeting, which is 21st. In the big training room at the jail. So. That's,
Yeah,
that'll be another
a
milestone,
little tour after.
real quick ones, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
real speedily.
while it's not inhabited. Yeah, the doors will be open, put it that way, for a period of time, but yeah, it'll be very educational, and
It's state of the art.
it's quite a building,
Yeah.
quite a building.
Yeah.
And the efficiency of it's probably, what, 67% of what we got down. And the interaction with the staff and the inmates is probably half or 2/3 of what we have now, so safety's a good issue on both sides there, so. Anyway, well, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
So I get my life back in a couple of weeks. But anyway,
Turn it over to Ben.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's yours. Build, or no, design, build and occupancy, so I guess we're out of the picture.
Transition.
You keep saying that. You
You
already got.
keep laughing about it, we're not kidding.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
I'll put all these guys in there next week.
Yeah, we could do like,
Occupied.
one county actually rented the jails out.
Fundraiser.
Yeah, charge $100 a night to stay overnight, but not me, I'm going home to bed. Yeah, but,
Gotta have more than one phone call. You put us in there.
you might need several.
Well, I know it will.
Yeah,
Come and get me.
okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
That's okay.
All those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Thank everybody, appreciate you.